I am the next reporter, Nina Angeli F. Soliano, and we will tackle about speaking. But before anything else, I would like to ask for an apology for my background noise. Hope you will learn something for today. So, speaking. Speaking is an act of making vocal sounds. It is to converse or expressing one's thoughts and feelings in spoken language. To speak often implies conveying information. It may be from an informal remark to a scholarly presentation to a formal address. So we as a human, we are innate to speak, most especially to the people we encounter too. So why do we need to adopt speaking skills? Or why do we need to practice this skill? Speaking skill give us the ability to communicate effectively. Of course, with these skills, we can know what are the do's and don'ts, most especially when we are speaking to a formal scenario. Next, it allows the speaker to convey his message in a passionate, thoughtful, and convincing manner. Of course, through speaking, we can exaggerate, we can share our feelings, our informations that we have to other people, and by that way, they can also learn from our information that being shared. Next, it also helps to assure that one won't be misunderstood by those who are listening. Of course, if we only listen, there are things that we cannot understand. So we need also to speak in order for us to understand more. For example, where it is in a natural way that we have misunderstandings to our family or our boyfriends or girlfriends. So if we do not speak to each other, we cannot solve the problem that we have, that you have encountered. So we have to speak, we have to talk about what is the reason why of that things. So that is the importance of speaking. Let us move forward to the speaking skills. So speaking skills includes the vocal, visual, and verbal. First is vocal. So its range is 38%. 38% because it includes the tone, range, appeal, and credibility of the voice. So one example is the broadcasters. So the broadcasters is somewhat advantage to the listeners because they can easily persuade with the use of their voice, the tone they are using. So they somewhat have the talent on how to use their vocal, or that is what we call vocalization. Most especially the singers, they also use their vocalization. Next is visual, 55%. So it includes the physical appearance, gestures, and eye contact. So that's just they use the vocal, but also their physical appearances. If they need to use eye gestures, gestures and eye contacts to the audiences. So this is in a formal way. But of course, in an informal way, we also use gestures and eye contact to someone we speak to. Next is verbal, so 7%. So in verbal, it is the information that we are sharing. So it is the words that we are spoken. So why do we speak? What and how? So why to speak? Why to speak? It is because we have to present or presentation to persuasion. So not just speaking is not just presentation, but also it includes how to persuade audiences, how to share our information that the audience can relate to, can convey to. So, by this way, we are also sharing our information, our thoughts, and our feelings, and our opinions. So, that is the reason why we speak. So, next is brainstorming. So, next is brainstorming. So, what to speak? We have to brainstorm on what we are going to speak. Unlike the marites out there in our neighborhood, no, they also have brainstorming when it comes to what they are going to share, but in an informal way. While in a formal way, we have to include the introduction, the body, and conclusion. So we have to arrange, we have to organize the informations, the thoughts that we are going to speak, most especially when it comes to public speaking. Now, how to speak. So let's speak like a star. So how to speak like a star? So star, the abbreviation star stands for S, situation or scenario. So we have to identify what scenario or situation we are going to speak. Next is T stands for the task. So in that scenario or situation, what task we should, or what task is we have to do, or what is our main goal on speaking on that scenario. Next is attitude. Of course, we have to include our attitude, most especially in speaking. We have to discipline ourselves, most especially when we are going to have a public speaking or interaction with other people. Next is letter R. R stands for the result. The result of what we have done from the scenario, task, and the attitude. So, in the result, we are going to share now, or we are going to speak to other people. Oral interaction. So, speaking or oral interaction situations. Example, for interactive, we have the face-to-face conversations. So, the casual conversations maybe, like the mga marites in our neighborhood. So, they have the face-to-face conversations. The next is the telephone calls. So, normal calls or phone calls or telephone calls is also interactive, since you have to share your information to the other line, no? To the other area. Next, speaking or oral interaction situations. For partially interactive, we have giving a speech to a live audience. So it is less interactive because it is the speaker who will always share his idea or information. The audience will only ask their side if they have their opinions when the speaker is done his or her piece. Partially interactive. For non-interactive, so it is the recording of a speech or a radio broadcast. Why? Because it is only the reporter, it is only you who records, will only share your ideas or thoughts or your piece. You cannot ask for your opinion. Why is that the report is 2222? So you cannot ask like that on a live scenario. So everything is under recorded. So it is non-interactive. So what is oral interaction? It is an act of communication and foundational social skills which includes the ability to initiate dialogue, change topics during the conversation, take turns, know what is appropriate to say in the context, speak directly, convey relevant information, and so on. It is using the target language in its spoken form in a meaningful exchanges with a conversational partners. It involves language reduction, but also active listening. So for oral interaction, we have to apply the speaking skills that we have. So maybe we have in the speaking skills the non-interactive or the partially interactive or the interactive. So in this oral interaction, we are going to have a context. The context is the basis on what we are going to tackle in our conversational partners. So we have partners that leads us to exchange our informations and thoughts, and in this manner we have a dialogue, and of course we must practice active listening. Examples: different language functions in daily situations. First example is we are going to give our personal details. So this is innate. This is what we have seen every inch in our life, right? Like giving our personal information, like your name. So you will not say, this is Nina Angeles Tuliano. I am 32 years old, living in Barangay Pacna, Mandawi City. So you must use it formally. I am Nina Angeli F. Suliano, 22 years old, and I am living in Barangay Pacnaan, Mandawi City. Or I might say, this is Nina Angeli F. Suliano, 50 years old, stunning, and living in Barangay Pacnaan, Mandawi City. So it's up to you on how you're going to use language, but you have this certain context. So I will give the floor to the next reporter. Thank you for listening, and my apologies for my background noise, since it is the only day that I can have my reportings because I am also a working student. So thank you so much for listening, and I will give you to Algono for the continuation of my topic. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll be leaving with you the quotation: kind words are sweet to the soul, so speak kindness, speak sweetness, and speak love.